we also focus on even wellness. Like we have a whole hour dedicated.
You still got a life, your family, your health. You've got to be sweating. Like that. Those are elements that I'm sure you'll add on in like the fitness part of it.
100%. I think I figured out it's 34 laps around your truck is a mile.
Whoa!
So
I love that. That's so cool.
A flip phone, a fax machine, and a pager walk into a bar. The bartender says, "What is this, a museum?" Technology moves fast. What was cutting edge 20 years ago is now more nostalgia than necessity. Sure, a flip phone can still make calls just fine, and a fax machine technically works okay. But why settle for fine when you can have better? If your back office technology still relies on email inboxes and manual workflows, it's time for an upgrade courtesy of ePay Manager powered by OTR Solutions. With ePay Manager, you can modernize your processes, streamline invoice audits, and automate payments with proactive workflows that don't rely on those email inboxes. The result? Faster invoicing, stronger security, and 50% lower back office costs. Don't let your business get stuck in the past like that pager you stopped carrying in 1999. Visit epaymanager.com or text ePayFC to 80483 to bring your back office into the modern age.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Control Chain. Struggling to find loads? Control Chain offers a cost-effective solution for carriers to secure more freight contracts with reliable shippers. Plus, you get a free tool that automates tasks like managing order details, updating customers, and sending PODs. Say goodbye to spreadsheets, emails, and phone calls. With Control Chain, you can manage everything on one platform, from planning and execution to getting paid. Sign up at controlchain.com and start receiving loads today.
This podcast is also brought to you by Highway, the carrier identity platform that's revolutionizing how freight brokers fight fraud. Every day, new threats emerge, but with Highway's robust tools, you're always one step ahead. Last month alone, Highway stopped over 54,000 fraud attempts, solidifying its role as a trusted partner to over 600 3PLs. Highway stands as your shield against the threat of stolen identities, double brokering, data breaches, and more, ensuring that your operations are secure and your transactions are safe. So, if you want to focus on what you do best and leave the worries of fraud behind, it's time to partner with Highway. Visit highway.com now to book a demo. Highway. It all starts with carrier identity. Today's podcast is also brought to you by Cargado. Cargado is the only invite-only load board for cross-border freight. If you're moving freight to and from Mexico and you aren't using Cargado to accelerate your growth, you're missing out. To learn more, go to cargado.com.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Ellen Schwartz here, the founder of Ellevate. And Ellen and I, we're here in northern Chicago.
Yes.
They asked us not to say where we're at.
That's true.
But we're in the home of the owl, and she's watching. So this episode we're going to talk about Ellen's startup. Startup?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a financial literacy program that is geared towards teaching owner-operators or people who have failed at owner-operating, want to become an owner-operator, how to better set themselves up for success and really walk them from the second day after they get their CDL, to their first invoice with their shipment, and make sure that they know what to do so that they don't have to rely on dispatchers or anybody that they don't want to deal with.
I love that.
So,
So I suppose let's just start talking business. And we were talking about MMA, Ellen's huge MMA mixed martial arts fan. So towards the end, we'll get into those topics, and you can really get to know the person behind Ellen. Incredible story. I think you guys are gonna really love her. She's cool. So, Ellen, your story, born and raised in Iowa. What part of Iowa?
Davenport. So just south of the I-80 truck stop, the world's largest truck stop.
The world's largest truck stop.
The world's largest truck stop.
Is a place you drove by
all the time, on my way to college, on my way anywhere. It's right off I-80, and my parents grew up my parents lived 10 minutes from there, right off the Mississippi River, and it's a huge freight town, which is nice. And I've always been around truckers, and then just kind of working through my career to get into logistics, it really felt like home. And then I was working at a licensing facility right before COVID, and it was really fun. And I realized there's no education for drivers other than what to do behind the wheel. Mm-hmm. And obviously business in general is so much more than what you actually do. And I would talk to drivers then after COVID when I was working at a 3PL. they would tell me like, oh, I'm going bankrupt, or I went bankrupt, I have to live in my truck, or I lost my house, and no one told me to separate my personal and professional. And these are all such avoidable things, and no one's teaching drivers how to fix it. And so when I was getting my MBA, I really took the time to isolate the issue, figure out how to change the issue, and I developed this completely customizable one-day course that can take drivers from literally the licensing facility to invoicing, so that they really don't have to rely on anyone but themselves if they don't want to.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And
It's a great thing.
is this only for drivers, or is it for people that maybe want to be dispatching drivers?
It can definitely be for dispatching. If I know I trained somebody and their wife took the class because she wanted to be the one like booking the freight through DAT or through truck stop, and the husband just wanted to drive, but she needed to know how to invoice and how to actually book the freight. And so part of my program, there's a whole section dedicated to how to either use a TMS or how to use DAT to work to your benefit to get those shipments, to understand how to properly quote, so that we can maybe preemptively avoid what every broker hates, which is, you're not going to pay me $7 a mile? What do you mean?
Yeah.
And so, helping drivers become not only realistic, but profitable. Because if you're not starting at the root of the problem just gets bigger and bigger. And then, I can always
educate the driver education system and the dispatch system is as bad as probably our school system.
Yes. It's
maybe worse.
Huge lapse in what actually it takes to be a driver, because it's so much more than just
just driving.
Yeah. It's so much more than
especially like most drivers, I feel like they probably want to eventually become an owner operator.
Right.
Like they get into driving because they want to have money, right? They want to have a good life. They want to have freedom. They want
the biggest sale is, you can make 6 figures.
Yeah.
No one tells you how to do that.
How?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's terrible that all these drivers are coming in and they're falling victim of predatory contracts, or they do a carrier sponsorship for both their licensing and their truck, and they end up having to pay 40% interest, and they can't get ahead, and then even more financial damage is happening. And I know a lot of the drivers that I've talked to, they've all tried and failed at being an owner operator like 2 or 3 or 4 times. So that means that they could potentially have 2 or 3 or 4 bankruptcies, and then they're discouraged and they don't know where to go. And that's just sucky. Who wants to attack, go towards war with no backup, no information, and no education, when in one day I can educate them very easily to get everything that they need and feel really confident about going into being an owner operator.
Preventing a shit ton of pain.
Exactly. And factoring companies are also they take a huge percentage. It's all of these things add into why I really started Ellevate, because drivers are all really nice. And I'm sure that a big reason why they're always cranky is because they're getting taken advantage of left and right. So we can arm our trades workers, and one of the most needed trades workers of drivers, so much better than what we are. And just working to get the name of my company out there so that I can get as many drivers in the know as I can, so that whether it's them or their fleet manager or whoever, they can really kind of lock in on this program and really explode their business further, or in general.
So this one's for the drivers, for the people that want to start trucking companies, that want to run them, that want to be profitable. And let's dig into it. So you mentioned the first place where you really got to work with more drivers was working at this place before COVID, which was It
was a CDL licensing school. So it was 160 Driving Academy, and I learned a ton. I was working with their Amazon Choice students. So if you work at an Amazon warehouse for 2 years, I don't know if it's still a program, but I think it is. If you work at an Amazon warehouse for 2 years or more, they give you full trade school tuition to anything. And then they'll pay you to leave Amazon, because Bezos really wanted it to be they didn't want it to be a career. They wanted it to be job training and then you're out.
Okay, interesting.
And so 160 partnered with Amazon. They would then get students that would want to go from Amazon to being a driver. And we would take them through, it would be either 4 weeks or 8 weeks, because they could do it full or part-time. And but that was it. They literally would just learn how to drive the truck. They would go and take their test, and then they would go out in the world.
Boom.
Right. And if they didn't have a carrier sponsorship, they just had a license and they didn't know what to do with it.
And how do you win freight? How do you?
And nobody knew. They were like, "Oh, well, you can help me get a job." And I'm like, if you don't get accepted into a carrier sponsorship, there's nothing that I can do for you. You just have to go out and find it. And that just like, it seemed almost unfair that there was just one lane for them to go in. And on a highway, there's all these different lanes. So we can give them all of the lanes that they need to be able to haul freight and get the freight that they want to haul. And so, from there going into Transloop, where I was working which is a 3PL, just talking to more drivers every day, doing a check call, talking.
Because at Transloop, you were doing carrier sales?
So I was an basically an operations manager, an account growth manager. I think it's called something different everywhere. Every brokerage has a different name for it, but they all feel important. And so I was doing check calls and audits and different things to make sure that like we were getting paid, our customer was getting, paying us the right ways, that all of our claims were handled, and really kind of understanding the nitty gritty of what happens once that shipment is actually like sent from customer to broker. Because I think that especially like drivers don't know what happens. I know when I would get a broker that would come onto the account, I had cheat sheets for them of like, this is what I need. If your driver wants to haul one of these loads, I need them to have X, Y, and Z. This is where the price can be. This is what we have in our shipment. And this is what they need to be able to leave that property without a fine. And every broker would say to me, oh my God, that's so helpful. Thank you. This helps answer all of these questions. And I don't have to be bothered, by getting questions all the time. And they just knew exactly what was expected of them. And when I would converse with drivers and tell them the same thing of like, okay, you have tarps? Cool. You have this? Great. You can invoice me? Perfect. Send you on your way. You can go from wherever to wherever. But that's after they had either someone who taught them how to do the freight, someone who taught them how to even contact a broker. And some of them didn't even know that they needed a DOT number. They just thought, I have a CDL, I can go.
Yeah.
And then we're sitting there fussing with them over a rate, and they're like, well, you're not even approved through compliance. Half of these drivers don't even know what compliance is, which isn't to like snuff on them or anything.
Half of you drivers, they're watching.
A lot of drivers, they, you get out with your CDL and you know that you need a truck and insurance. Nobody tells them about budgeting for maintenance or life insurance or short-term disability insurance. And, in my company, in my program, the financial blueprint that I offer, I have custom packages with insurance companies that offer a better rate for drivers that are new and experienced. I'm working on partnerships with truck dealerships so that if you want to finance a truck through a dealership, you can come to my class. Then they feel confident that like the drivers are going to have exactly what they need and they have a laid out budget. Then if you're looking for credit on a truck, you're not falling into a 40% interest rate with a carrier that's going to hire you, and you're going to fall behind on those payments or not have any money to take out of your paycheck at the end. And so I really work with drivers, each one, to make sure that, okay, you want an MC? Let's get it for you.
Hey there, amazing listeners. If you're enjoying what you're hearing in our podcast, we need your support. It will only take a moment, but it would mean the world to us. Please make sure to hit the like button on this video, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to share with one of your friends that would enjoy our content. Your engagement helps us reach more people and bring more awesome episodes to you. Thanks a million, and thanks for being part of the podcast community.
Yeah. Can we dive into that? Say like I call you, and I kind of. So FreightCaviar, most of our viewers are freight brokers, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I know a lot of freight brokers that they're very interested in the dispatching side of things. And so say there is a freight broker that, my story, I started as a freight broker, and then I went into the trucking side and was dispatching drivers. And so I partnered with somebody who already had the MC, had 4 of his friends that were owner-operators with trucks, right? So, like, if you're an amazing freight broker or you're a freight broker and you're working with your drivers and you see them struggling and you want to help them, and say you want something new, you don't want to be brokering anymore, they can reach out to you, Ellen. This person can reach out to you. Hey, Ellen, I have some drivers that I can start loading. I understand how to broker freight. I can win loads. You can help me get an MC. You can tell me about the insurance. You can tell me like how long what I have to do to start winning my first loads, getting them off the load board. Can we like go through that simulation
of course.
So boom.
Yeah, so if you call me and you either want to get your own MC or you don't, I offer both. So one, there are 2 different programs on my website. You can choose the financial blueprint with the MC or the financial blueprint
So
without the MC.
in this scenario, I want an MC because I'm gonna say I have three drivers, 3 owner operators with their own trucks, but I want an MC to load them. Is that a scenario that you could help me with?
Of course. So then we would get you all the information down. We would get you the MC. I get that ready so that by the time you come into the day-long class, we start off with your MC already, active, going, because it takes 2 weeks. So 2 weeks before, I'll get all the information from you. I'll fill out the website so that way you're not, getting confused or backlogged, and you don't have any downtime from, where you're making money to the next place you're going to be making money. Because if you're working on one MC and then you want to have your own. And then I literally will take you from, okay, so we have this set up. Here's what you do now. Here's where you need to make sure that you have your budget all in line. Here's how you budget for maintenance. Here's how you budget for insurance. Here's where you can get different types of freight. I have a freight broker that comes in and explains DAT, highway for compliance, carrier packets to make sure that you can, be.
But freight broker, I am a freight broker, right?
Yeah. So if you know,
but yes.
But it's really just like breaking down like how to do
even
it
another
from
one
perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
And really understanding, that there's more than just a 3PL. Like you can do this on your own. You don't really need any of the fancy smancy things. And where a lot of brokerages will tell people like, oh, this is out of your hands, or you have to buy this enterprise size system. You can get an individual membership. And you can really make it work on that smaller scale. And the understanding the margins and having that be bigger when it's just you and 3 drivers that you own the trucks and they, they're paying for them separate. Understanding how we can fix that budget down so like all of those other truck payments aren't on that budget, but you're still managing, how to budget for the maintenance that you want. If you're going to pay for their maintenance and then they pay you back, anything like that, we set you up with your own invoicing system.
Can we go into like dive super deep? So so I call you and okay, Ellen. So I want to set up an MC. I want to load these 3 owner operators who have their own own trucks, and I also want to buy my own truck and I want to run it. Can you help me with the financing? How I can become profitable on all of this? So like, how much money do I need saved to begin? They say you need money to do business. Is that true?
Yes and no. So I definitely have resources to explain like what an SBA loan is, because a lot of drivers can rely on SBA, small business loans through the government to take care of those startup costs. A lot of people don't even understand that if like you have savings and you want to use it. I have an accountant that comes in and explains like, okay, as long as you keep all these receipts, it all goes towards your tax write-offs, and then you can do that. Understanding that it's not to be mixed personal and professional financing. And then really just like personalizing every piece of programming that you need so that you understand it.
In my scenario, my hypothetical scenario.
I'm like circling and it's like making sense, but it's like,
Totally chill. I just want to make it as real as possible.
I think the best way.
So like say in this hypothetical scenario, I have $10,000 saved, Ellen. I know I have 3 drivers that can roll for me, 3 owner operators. And I want to buy my own truck. And I've got a driver lined up for him, but he's just finished the CDL. Okay, so that's the scenario. And I've got $10K. I want to pay for the MC. And
so the MC itself, I mean, people don't know offhand. It's $500 just to file, but it's $250 for the MC. And then
you could do it off for me too.
Yep, and I do it all for you.
So how much would you mark me up on that? Like,
so
you totally deserve it for your time, etc.
The course without the MC is $1,350.
Okay.
And with the MC, it's $1,750.
Okay.
And so I think that's a really attainable price. It's nice compared to what you're paying for your CDL licensing and everything. And because you're walking out like with specific discounts that my connections and partnerships are.
We get you as a partner too. That we can always call you for advice, help.
And there's supplemental services even for after when you finish the program. I have an accountant that'll work with you, a lawyer that'll work with you, and
we get your team. We get the Ellevate team.
Yes, you really are elevating your life when you come through our program, and we really want to make sure that everyone feels super, super thorough and fulfilled with what they're doing in life, and really giving people the path to make the 6 figures that's always advertised for truckers, especially with the new tariffs and everything that are going in. the way that freight's going to work is the same way that it kind of worked in COVID, really, where everything is going to go up in price and benefit, the trucking industry, which is always better for us, at least. And so giving people the information that they need to really boost their business and stay profitable. And if you have the 10,000, you come to me.
I've got the 10K. Like,
yeah,
I want to start. Like, how quickly can I start loading? Like,
yeah. So once we get you set up and we have the MC set up, then we get you profiles and memberships to, the compliance software that all of the 3PLs are using. We get you licensed and the EIN that you need for the government to start your taxing, and really break down how much you need per month to have for freight, whether it's hauling, mechanics, repairs, anything, inspections, making sure that you really understand where those hiccups of where you might not be approved by one 3PL, but you'll be approved by another.
And there's different people in your team that are going into each one of these, right?
So I have one freight broker that comes in and he explains all of the like the TMS systems and the compliance programs that are out there for drivers. Okay. And I really want to make sure that everyone has kind of the same knowledge of what a 3PL would have. Because if you can't...
So you can see what... So you, if you're going to come in as a driver or as a dispatcher and you've never seen what a freight broker's job is, like, understand it. Freight brokers are your biggest partners in getting freight. And if you're better at talking to freight brokers, they're going to like you more. They're going to call you more with more freight, et cetera, et cetera. So really even empathy. And this is like a way to empathize with your broker. You can see what their load board is like, what their challenge is like, what they don't like when a driver does or a dispatcher, etc. So
ePay Manager, powered by OTR Solutions, is a back office automation and carrier payments platform that revolutionizes brokerage back offices with their proactive invoicing workflow, a centralized portal that gets you out of your email. Learn more about ePay by visiting epaymanager.com or text ePayFC to 80483 to see what they can do for your brokerage.
Like, even just like learning the lingo, like I said, and really, like, I'm such an organization freak that I have like a spreadsheet of every, acronym or phrase that might be used in a different way. And
you know what a lot lizard is?
I do know what a lot lizard is.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Seen a few of them in my day. Fine. They're always a good time. I mean, I don't know from experience.
Yeah, I've been growing up to the
Truckers Jamboree is always a good time.
Wild.
Iowa knows how to party. It's fine. It's not just at the university. But yeah, so like, exactly. I don't even know if I have that on my list, but I will add it just for you. Like, just for you. Everyone has to know what a lot lizard is.
That's right.
You have to know quality from far away.
Oh yeah.
But I have a list of like all of these acronyms and everything, where if a broker says something to you while you're out and you're, whether new, old, whatever, even just from company to company, those acronyms can switch. Like an AGM at Transloop is not always the same as what an AGM is somewhere else. And, just really having that firm understanding of like, okay, if a broker says this to me, I need to respond with this.
So like, if you're interested, can someone, like, I think what you should do with that sheet, you should make it like a nice sheet where I think you should use it as like a lead magnet. Where people can hit you up. Like, if you're interested in working with Ellen, if getting this cheat sheet with all these terms, lot lizard and, all this, like, you would be willing to give that away if they were interested, right? Yeah. So, like, DM, where can people DM you? Like, drivers DM you, Instagram, LinkedIn,
Facebook, and our website. So we're Ellevate Financial with 2 L's, so ELLEVATE.
Like Ellie, Ellevate.
Ellevate, and I answer everything at all hours, and my website has a contact us form, and if you say that you saw us on FreightCaviar, I would absolutely send it to you. And I can add anything. If anyone has any suggestions, I'm more than happy to add them. It's an ever-growing list. And
beautiful.
So it's really helping people understand the freight broker perspective and an independent business.
And then you guys can start talking and getting into the more details and questions that you might have for Ellie. I hope it doesn't bother you if I go here. But I feel like I haven't been like looking at our...
You're good. I keep looking at the actual camera.
Yeah, there's the actual... but no, it's all good. Yeah. Okay, cool. So...
but you can be profitable probably within... 7 days, I'm guessing.
Profitable within 7 days.
Yes, because you're getting, if you don't know how to find freight, you're not making money. Yep. I can help you find freight where in one day you don't know how, you're working, being taught by my team. The next day you can go and make freight, and then as long as you set your own payment terms and you communicate those to the brokers that you're actually getting the freight from.
Brokers are like okay with us communicating our own payment terms?
It depends. A lot of people have.
You'll teach us how?
Yes. I mean, anything is possible. You just have to ask. A lot of people are willing to make a lot of exceptions. I mean, I asked you guys, and now I'm here. So
I got to challenge you on a lot of these things. Like,
Yeah, of course.
so like, I know that as a new carrier, it's hard to win freight. So,
Yeah.
but like before we jump to that,
Yeah.
So okay, I call you. I pay you $17.50. I go through your 1-day course.
Yep.
2 weeks later, I have an MC number. I have everything else I need to drive.
Yep.
CDL. My drivers have a CDL. I'm not going to be driving. I'm going to be the person loading them and handling the business side behind things.
Yep.
Okay, so.
And I'm not always talking about like
Yeah.
customer freight, like where they're going straight to, you know, like they're getting a lane from a specific manufacturer.
Not customer freight.
Exactly.
Broker freight.
Broker freight.
Yeah, which is the majority of
Exactly.
for yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you start. Eventually, once you get big, you can start winning customer freight,
Exactly.
right?
I just want to make sure that we were clear. Yeah.
Yep, clear. Heard. Okay, got it. So 2 weeks later, I'm ready. I log into
DAT,
DAT,
or
truck
anything.
stop.
Yeah, and you know how to contact them, how to book the freight, how to.
Do you have
properly
connections with some freight brokers that you might be able to be like, hey, they went through our course,
Mhm.
and there's a new company. Like, I trust them. I know them. I know they're cool. I
I'm
went
in
through
talks.
Ellevate, or Ellevate. Sorry. I just flew in from Poland. Like, yeah, cut me
We're
some
all
slack.
speaking different languages. That's fine.
Yes.
So I'm working on partnerships
Mhm.
with specific 3PLs to, you know, have them kind of loopholes with the compliance software where they know that they're going to be trusted from my company to their drivers and make sure, you know, like, okay, they have the right information to be able to adequately haul freight, know how to bill.
Mhm.
They're not going to play games with us. They're not going to, you know, double broker our stuff or anything like that. So I'm working on those connections currently.
Let's go. You'll have them. By the time
Yes.
you're reaching out, Ellie will have those connections. She'll be able to, like, you'll going through her course, you'll be able to be on like a list of brokers where Ellie approved.
Yes.
Right?
And that's the goal. Is like I really want to become like a standard for drivers across the board, where 3PLs or brokers in general feel comfortable going with a driver who might not have the oldest authority.
Yeah, it's
but
a fresh company.
Exactly.
And
And they're so limited. I mean, like fresh.
it's hard to
MCs are-
win freight. Like,
Exactly.
only C.H. Robinson gives you your freight on day one.
Exactly.
However,
Like Landstar or something, I think.
Yeah. So is that the answer for most people that start companies right now?
So
Just
we're in
CH. Just CH.
85% of all the trucking businesses, whether big
Mhm.
or small, whether it's an owner operator or like an actual brokerage or anything, 85% of any freight business goes under within the first 18 months. And yes,
Come again?
85% of all freight anything
Mhm.
within 18 months goes under. So you have such a high margin of error.
You've got to start measuring, if you're not already measuring,
Yeah.
what your grads get.
100%. And that's
Mm.
the current. We're still very fresh.
Yeah,
so I'm
because
like
we never told people. When did you start?
So I launched it in October.
In October,
yeah.
2024.
Yep. And so we
Mm.
are, you know, slowly getting more and more popularity, which is really exciting and great. And then we're really hoping to really get our first large class from our booth at the Mid American Truck Show in March.
Fun.
So you can come
Which
and
one?
see us.
The-
So the Mid American one in Louisville.
Okay.
March 27th to 29th. I got a booth right up front. Right when you walk in, you'll see us. I have a big personalized, actually like a 4-foot tall stoplight
Okay.
that you can see, and it'll be right there at our booth. And I'm collecting all the information from every one of our graduates so that, okay, I know.
What you measure, you can manage.
Exactly.
Mm.
And I don't want to set anyone up for I want to set everyone up for success. I don't want to set anyone up to fail because that margin of error is so high. And, you know, working with people to really have them have that visibility and to have the comfort of both on the brokerage side and the driver side. If they see my name on, you know, their paperwork, they're going to say, okay, they know exactly what they need to operate. They're doing this ethically. They're going about this morally. We're not worried about any of these kind of like scammy dispatchers that we hear from all the time, because how often does a double brokerage happen? All the time.
Yeah.
And so really to kind of fight that stigma and be able to have people feel more comfortable with newer drivers is ultimately like a huge part of our goal. Because, you know, as long as you feel comfortable taking that first step, that next step and the next step and the next step, it all comes easier and easier. And so really collecting all that data is very much in the plan in my notebook of lots of information.
Yes.
But I'm excited for what we can do for these drivers, because I know, I mean, you know, you get your CDL, no one knows what compliance is. No one knows what any of these things are. They just think I can get a CDL and I can go out on the highway and I can get my own freight somehow. magically appears in my inbox. And there's such a disservice, and I just want to fix that lack of information.
I love that. I love that so much. I mean,
Today's episode is also brought to you by Control Chain. Struggling to find loads? Control Chain offers a cost-effective solution for carriers to secure more freight contracts with reliable shippers. Sign up at controlchain.com and start receiving loads today.
just the fact that that statistic, 85% of 85%
of trucking businesses
fail
and within 18 months.
Within 18 months.
Yep.
So like if your graduates can don't fail, or like only 10% fail, you know, like we increase it, that's huge.
Right.
That price of Ellie's services is going up every 6 months.
Yes.
You know, if that's starting to be true every time you've got successful graduates like that. And so that's phenomenal. That's an amazing thing, and it's helping people like ease their suffering.
Exactly. And it just makes people feel, you know, when you feel confident and informed, you feel better about that next step. You know, there's no fear of like, oh God, I'm not going to get this job, or I'm not going to get that job. You know that next step of like, okay, I can get this load, I can run it, I can bill it, I can work my own payment terms, I can make sure that I'm running the way that I need to run to be able to properly control my business. But then, you know, making sure that everything is organized on the back end so that you're not stressing on your 72-hour
Oh yeah, because you're suddenly not just a driver. You're wearing so many hats. You're a driver. You're an accountant. You're a finance person. You're a mechanic. You're so many different elements, and like you're a salesperson, and you're a customer service person.
And it's also, we also focus on even wellness. Like we have a whole, like, you know, hour dedicated.
You still got a life, your family, your health. You've got to be sweating. Like those are elements that I'm sure you'll add on in like the fitness part 100%. Of it.
I have I think it's, I figured out it's 34 laps around your truck is a mile.
Whoa. So I love that. That's so cool. Yeah.
If you're at a truck stop and you're feeling down, like do a couple of laps around your truck. It really helps with your, you know, your mental stability, your mental health. You're out in the air. It's really great.
Ellie, I read that sweating releases neurotropic factor or something like that, which is miracle grow for the brain.
Yes.
Pretty much it makes you smarter by brain cells that are damaged by stress. They start to regrow.
Stress is insane on the body. Like when I left the 3PL, I lost like 20 pounds in 3 weeks because I was just holding on to so much stress. And it's like a driver, you're constantly worried about like weather, rates, everything that you can go. And like a lot of people don't think like, okay, I have to take time.
Oh my gosh. I would love for FreightCaviar, like if you ever are, this would be such great content.
Yeah.
If drivers, they're at pickup, they're at shippers, they're at receivers. We just dropped an episode with Travis Ahern where we talk about how Travis with his drivers, he'll coach them and talk to them through fitness, and so they calling him while they're at shippers and receivers, like, yo, they're still not loading me. What the hell, man? And so he's like, yeah, I would love to see videos of drivers running around their truck 34 times.
That'd be so awesome.
Yeah.
Tag Ellevate, tag
speed that up on like 10x, and
that'd be so fun.
That'd be so wild. That'd be really cool.
A lot of people don't know that a lot of people know DAT.
Yes.
But they don't know that truck stop you can get freight.
Well, even that phone call to that first phone broker on DAT, boom, you call like, who do you call? Like we just did, let's say you call Tanager Logistics, or Raven Cargo.
Or Transloop. Right?
You call them, you call Transloop, right? Coyote, what do you say? Hey, I just started my MC. They're going to chuck you and, oh, you're too new.
Right, you're too new, and you're just iced out of so many opportunities. And I have a list within my program of like who you can work with when you're brand new.
Boom, that'll save you time. Yep. Now you know who you can call, who will work with you.
Yep, and I have it broken down by like 3 months. So once you're 3 months old, who you can work with, 6 months, who you can work with, 12 months, you know, and so on.
Another lead magnet that you could call Ellie, DM her.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll share it with you if you start a conversation together.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
I really love helping people. Like
if I blow up your DMs for this, I'm sorry. But you want that. You want to help people, right?
Blow my DMs up. Absolutely reach out. I'm here to help everybody. You know, growing up, I grew up through my parents are both entrepreneurs, and my first job in the city was working with evictions. And so, you know, giving people that comfort level of, I understand that you might not be in the most financially sound situation. That shouldn't limit anyone from feeling like they can achieve their future goals. And, you know, giving that comfortable open door feeling to anyone and everyone, I think is such a missed opportunity for a lot of brokerages, because yes, they might be 3 months old in their MC or 2 months old or whatever, they could be like the best driver you could ever have, who will take every lane that you have, you know, no matter what it is, that they trust you as a broker and they trust you, or you trust them as a driver. You know, even just like understanding, like, okay, let me work with you. Let me figure out, okay, you have 10,000 to start. Let's put that into the matrix. We can break that down. Here's how much you need to, you know, save in the beginning for maintenance, for inspections, for anything that you want. And then we have this extra amount, and where does that go? How do we put that into it? Are you marketing your truck? Do you want to, you know, put that into your compliance software? Do you want to put that into your invoicing software? You know, giving them even just the information of what programs they can use, because, you know, there's so much out in the world that you have to wade through to find the right ones for you. But if you don't even have, you know, like 3 columns of, okay, this is what I want, this is what's out there, and this is what matches what I have. If you don't have that matrix, or if you don't even know what's, you know, what to access, you're sitting there, you know, like we all do when there's so many options, you're just
Overwhelmed
frozen.
and you don't act.
Exactly. Right? And so giving people that comfort to act and the information of like, here
Well,
are the
just
options.
clear steps.
Exactly.
Boop, 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 and suddenly you just follow this map up this path, and suddenly you're gonna have a profitable business and a better life.
Exactly.
Right?
And even if like you're in a situation where you have your MC, you think you're budgeting correctly, I have supplemental services that are offered at a specialty rate. So I work with the people. If, you know, you want 1 or 2 or 3, I negotiate the rate for everyone, because it's all through my team and I can make it
and
work.
it changes. Yeah.
Exactly. And, you know, maybe you're a struggling trucking company. You can contact me for a budget appraisal and or review rather, and I'll walk you through that budget. I will show you where you have flaws or where you can improve, or how you can grow your business in different ways where your financial, you know, struggle won't show, or if it does show, here's how we can make that money go further.
I love that.
And, you know, even just giving someone the steps of negotiating, where, you know, I feel like you and I probably have been blessed with the same kind of idea of like, okay, here's how you're successful. Our families have given us this knowledge of, okay, here's what we have and here's how we need to move forward. But other people don't have that information.
100%.
And so really sharing that to a community that very much needs it. I want to help anyone and everyone. So the supplemental services could come in where you have the 10,000, you have the freight, or you have your MC. Let me look at your budget. Let me help you work that to the best of its ability.
Like one thing, I read a book, Profit First, Q3 of 2024 for my business.
You qualify everything in your brain.
Oh yeah. So in our business, I was struggling to save money at the end of the month. I was blowing. I'm like, I like to live, and I feel like I know we're trending up.
Yeah.
And so I feel very confident spending everything.
1,000%.
However, that's not good, right?
Yeah.
With a business owner.
Same situation.
That's not a good thing as a business owner. And so one thing that I set up for my business that I think would be amazing to set up for companies is like a Mercury or Relay bank account. There are these great banks that very quickly you can open up accounts. Like it takes 2 seconds. You don't have to call or anything. Once you're set up with these banks, you set up different accounts. So you could set up a budget, a bank account that this is my profit account.
Yeah.
In there, you allocate a percentage of your income from every load, automatically goes into the profit.
Yes.
You've got another one that's for your tax, and automatically, then you've got your operating expenses. That's what I spend every month, and I don't feel guilty about it.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, I know I can spend this as long as it's legitimate business expenses. They're gonna make me grow, right? And so for a trucking company, you could have these same things that automatically set you up for success, where at the end of the day, you do not touch that profit account, you're still going to be profitable. And then at the end of the quarter, you take half of that profit, you pay yourself, and then that other half you keep in that in that thing. And setting that up is going to be so, I'm sure,
Yes. And I have it, so like if you want to do that like per load, I have it built in. If you want to do it per week, I have it built in. If you have it per month, quarter, however, I have it fragmented in my budgeting tool that I developed with 3 CPAs, because I wanted to make sure that it was absolutely clear and transparent of everybody that wants to have anything in their budget. It's there, it's optioned, and we can really work with anybody that wants to do it.
Let's go.
And,
like even just taking them, doing that step of setting the bank up for you.
Yep.
You know, boom, we'll set up the bank account with you, for you. However, like, oh, another great service, you know? And it's all time. It's all time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This podcast is also brought to you by Highway, the carrier identity platform that's revolutionizing how freight brokers fight fraud. If you want to focus on what you do best and leave the worries of fraud behind, it's time to partner with Highway. Visit highway.com now to book a demo. Highway. It all starts with carrier identity.
You want to focus on what makes you the most money and you like doing the most, which is
Exactly.
either A, driving,
Yep.
or B, winning freight.
Exactly.
Making closing deals, right?
Exactly.
Talking to your drivers.
Yep.
That's what the owner of a trucking company should be spending their time on, right?
Yeah,
That's
building partnerships and building benefits for their drivers, because I think that a lot of people also forget, like, a dispatcher is so much more than just getting them freight.
Oh my God.
Because there's nothing worse than when you book a load with a dispatcher and then they just vanish as soon as 501 hits. And then, like, the driver's MIA, they're MIA, you can't do anything.
Mhm.
And really, even just, like, working with these drivers or their wives or anything to make sure, like, they understand, there is an expectation of after hours, there is an expectation of this. And it can even be as simple as, like, if you're a dispatcher working with your husband as the driver, your wife as the driver, whatever, separating those finances and having those additional bank accounts of, like, okay, this is my surplus, this is what I can spend every quarter. A lot of people don't even know that.
Those are little habits that set you up for success.
1,000%.
Habits that set you up for success. And that's...
Yeah. Well, and my first driver said to me, like, oh, I've tried to be an owner-operator. Like, my first student, rather. He said to me, I've tried to be an owner-operator 3 times. No one ever told me that I should separate my personal and professional finances. Because it doesn't occur to people that, like, oh, well, it's my company. It can be my personal financing. But it's so different. And then you get yourself into tax problems, and then you're sitting there dealing with the IRS. And
I already got these problems. I got to win a load this week.
Exactly.
I got this tax problem. I've got kids. I've got...
Exactly. And it's just like...
I'm not saying kids are wrong. But life, like having time for your kids and a peaceful mind, like that's what's up.
And as in is, like, if you're making money and you know how to spend it, where to spend it, and how to save it, then it makes, having kids, buying a house, buying a car, personal car, buying a new truck, getting the fancy emblem or whatever on your truck that you could want, you have to be able to spend the money that you have and not, that you're hoping to get. And so really opening that door for drivers has been such the motivating factor. And just, like, being around drivers my whole life has really given me that insight of, like, okay, I see this failure or this struggle or, this on the brokerage side was a headache for me on the, dealing with a driver. And I've really spent all of this time, like, collecting all of the things that I liked and didn't like of different businesses that I've worked in and looked at, so that I can put them all, the best ones, into my business so that I can benefit the world around us to ultimately, if we can lower the number of bankruptcies or lower the number of freight businesses closing. I mean, 80,000 brokerages alone closed last year. Little small brokerages closed. Wow. And so, or 2023, I'm sorry, not last year. They haven't gotten the numbers for 24 yet.
Time flies.
Exactly. I'm like, how is it 2025? I have no idea. But, just, like, giving those opportunities to people, it's like, I lost my whole train of thought, but I'm really passionate about making sure that, bringing in all of those business strategies that I've seen be successful into my company to ensure that my customer, my student, those drivers, you drivers, or freight brokers, your drivers, are successful to continue. Because, I mean, it's also really sad if you have a regular that's, like, killing it on a specific lane and then they go out of business. Then you're struggling or paying more or dealing with a crappier carrier. And, like, we want to keep the broker happy. We want to keep our customers happy, and we want to keep our drivers happy, because if you have one of those people not happy, nothing is going to go smoothly.
You're right.
And there's so much on our side and from, like, the education standpoint that we can change to really change the dynamics within the freight community. That just aren't being attacked. And I think that Ellevate really does take a large step forward in that, to not even just, like, humanize the industry, but to really give it relevance, where it's not just like, oh, there's a pandemic, drivers are so important, and then it almost feels like disrespectful to them of, like, we overlooked you for years and years, and now you're important because we can't get toilet paper at the grocery store. Like, they've been important always. We can't go anywhere without needing a trucker.
You're right.
And, government, everybody has their own feelings about government, but the benefit of the administration currently is the tariffs are going to make the cost of freight go up, which means that everybody in the freight industry is about to make a lot more money.
Let's go.
And this is
just drivers.
The
Let's go brokers. Let's go dispatchers.
Yeah. And
Beautiful.
this is really, I felt that this was the perfect time to launch it, just because with there about to be a rise in freight and with the rise in profit, I just figure, let's get these people in the door, let's get them out, and let's make, the American economy thrive in the way that it was really supposed to be.
Amen, sister.
I want to make it happen for everybody.
Let's
So
go.
bring
Let's
your
fight for that.
drivers.
Let's
Yeah.
fight for that. Do you know Yuri Prohaska, the MMA reference here?
So one more time.
Yuri Prohaska, UFC
I've
fighter,
heard that name.
Czech
Yeah.
guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he
Yes.
just fought Jamal Hill.
Yes.
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 So Yuri's just gone. He was just on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And he's just went like pretty viral because English is his second language.
Yes.
And
So he said something crazy.
and yeah, he often says, "Let's go with that. Let's go with that." And so let's go with that. Let's freaking make
Yes.
the U.S. economy better. Let's make it
Yes.
easier for drivers to have profitable businesses, profitable lives.
Yeah.
Let's just make it a better world for everyone, so that more people are happy,
Yeah.
etc.
And it's accessible. We can make this so accessible for everybody because,
It's
people
just
may be-
sharing the knowledge that
Exactly.
you've learned, sharing where you were a couple steps, just sharing and giving it away. And I'm going to do my best to get Ellie to give as much of her secrets away for free for you guys. So stay tuned. I'm going to go pee my pants. Well, if I don't go, I'll pee my pants. And so we'll be right on back.
Yes.
Today's podcast is also brought to you by Cargado. Cargado is the only invite-only load board for cross-border freight. If you're moving freight to and from Mexico and you aren't using Cargado to accelerate your growth, you're missing out. To learn more, go to cargado.com.
Okay, so Ellie and I are we're looking through the course right now, and she's showing me all the gold is in here, and so we're just gonna kind of talk out loud of like what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And
So these are like the things that you have to do for your taxation and like what's good to know.
so like the musts for taxation.
Yeah.
You need to know this. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I guess I could go into like how I talk about like, what you do with like freight claims and how you invoice or
yeah. So going into that
these are all of like my notes.
and we could go into how you're there to help potentially if you do get a claim, right?
Yep. And
And you could even would you have a service of people that could call and represent the driver potentially?
So
to
I have
help
one
deal
of
with
my
stuff
best
like
friends is a lawyer who that's why all of my supplemental services are just like my friends who also are these things.
that? Phenomenal.
And then I have a negotiated rate with them. And then so like if
They can
somebody
call
needs-
and
right,
help.
they can help.
Phenomenal.
I'll get my friends to do it. So then I have like the general rules of like how to actually manage maintenance and how to write off everything, what you actually need to know for like operating, what you can write off for your beginning. Then I have all of this, like I live in
That stuff that you have to have with you,
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
this.
And
That's
then-
actually something where you should have like a link to the thing.
I have an Amazon store.
Oh,
I'm
perfect.
literally setting it up tomorrow.
Okay.
And then like
So like another thing you get is like little things like look how well like thought through this is. There's like a little box of all the items that you should be carrying in your truck in case things go down, and boom, Amazon link to get that so that you're really ready to rock and roll for.
And I'll have
prepared.
them all like segmented out of, like what you need for your pre-checks, what you need for, what you can write off in your truck, how you can really make your truck and what you have in it, not only things to have, but profit to carry. And then I have, like how you can like do self-care and where you can find community. And if you become, a union member or a Teamster, if you're,
what that looks like.
what that looks like and all of the different things. And there's all these different nonprofits and minority truckers that, have these great communities. And then obviously my contact info. But so I have all of this. It's like it's 26 slides.
Yeah, and
But it's all very detailed. I have
there's that list of all the brokers that you can work with.
Yes. All of that is in here, and I really have a lot of detail. Like all of these, like for every one slide, I have almost 3 pages of notes of how we teach everybody, what's good and how you can do your, net 15 or net 30 payment requests from anybody that you work with, and how you do your custom invoicing, how to book the load, how to get paid. Then, we go into even like freight guard reports, how you can fight against them, what you need to know to avoid them. very easy, but a lot of people just don't understand that little things can cause big issues.
Mm-hmm.
And, God forbid, you get into an accident. I talk about like what to do in those situations.
Well, preparing for that, what
Right.
you do in that scenario, in that
Who
situation.
to communicate with,
Yeah.
who handles them, are you liable, is your insurance covering them? Because if you don't have general understanding,
So that you're not just grabbing your head, what do I do? But it's like
Exactly.
you're grabbing your head, I know exactly what to do. I'm cool, collected, I'm taking the actions. Yeah.
And I make sure, like you saw in the beginning, like I ask all of these like qualifying questions of like, what type of trucking business do you want to, what kind of business do you want to run? Like, do you have certifications that allow you to do hazmat or doubles and triples, anything like that, reefer? And, there's specialty requirements. If you want to haul anything truly like ice cream, frozen, anything, you have to have all of those like specialty insurances, know-hows and everything. And, understanding if you have, an F450 with, a hot shot on it, is that actually a truck? What loads you can and can't get with those. I'm figuring out how to get escorts, lumpers, TWIC cards, how to avoid double brokering. Are you allowed people in your truck when you, go to a shipper or receiver?
What about hiring people? We got to add that into your,
Like for me or for them?
if you have it, but for them,
Yeah.
for like how you can recruit other drivers.
So I don't, but I can definitely add that in.
Yeah.
Because
I think that's like, because everyone wants to grow eventually and
true.
have, so I think that would be something,
Yeah.
if you guys think that's valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
DM.
If you guys
Write
want
it
to
in the
add
comments.
that, we can absolutely figure out, how to make that work, how to budget for those extra inspections, those extra, needs that you'll have as you grow your business. Because yes, I didn't even.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're building the business, and the
Exactly.
business is always growing, right?
Exactly.
And so additional things that you're gonna like by the time people watch this and rewatch this, etc., you'll probably have like
Additional
how to
services.
do marketing for your company, your brand, how to hire drivers,
Yes.
where to, and like all these things.
And really, like every day, I'm finding new communities in which are, educating drivers. There's huge communities on Reddit, Facebook, where people are handing out loads to drivers all over Facebook and Instagram. And if you don't know where to go and you don't know what to do, like I said, like that day after you get your CDL, if you don't have a job through a carrier sponsorship, you're sitting there like, what now? What do I do? Where do I go? And I really write you that roadmap of this is where you're going to go. This is what you need to know. This is what I need to know to be able to help you, get to those goals and continue further on down the line of continuing building who you are as a business professional in the logistics world. And so it really benefits, I think, everybody in this industry, more and more. And as we grow as a company, like adding in those little segments of how to grow your business, how to market, and really make sure that everyone understands that there are parts of the job that are just so not known to the new driver or, a lifetime company driver who is ready to take that leap to being a owner operator. We really kind of fill in those blanks for you and make sure that you are sound, secure, and ready to hit the highway with confidence.
Heck yeah. I mean, we could work something out where, boom, I can help. I've got ideas. I mean, this is cool. Ellie's building something that is out there that's going to be amazing, and it's going to help people and reach out. Like it's going to improve. It's going to get better, and you get a network of
you can really elevate your life.
Yes, you can really elevate your life. That's what it's about.
Exactly.
That's legitimately like what happens to trees, Mr. Owl. What happens to trees when
he elevates himself too?
Oh,
so.
He elevates himself, but like
Yes.
when a tree is not elevating itself, when it's not growing anymore,
It's dying.
Exactly.
And then you fall into the 80,000 the 80,000 businesses that go under, and that's just no way to be.
We don't want that happening.
And the need for drivers is literally never ending. They would have to hire the exact same number of drivers now, which is about 1.5 million drivers. They'd have to hire that 5 times over the next 5 years just to be able to meet the need of shipping right now.
Ellie,
so there's a need for drivers, and the time to learn and prepare yourself for the next phase of your life is now.
Can I challenge you with a goal?
Let's hear it.
Let's measure anyone that comes through your program and lower that statistic to like 10%.
I would love that.
10% of companies that go through your program.
Yeah.
Pretty much close.
Yeah.
But there's a nicer way of saying that.
Yeah.
But that's to say that nicer, that's 70
I'm hoping that I can, if 10% of that, if it's 8,000.
Mhm.
So I would love to be able to lower it by 10% a year, and then ultimately just have people be successful entrepreneurs and really live in their now and be successful and really build themselves up in the ways that they need. And my DMs are always open. You can always ask for advice.
Where?
Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Name?
EllevateYourself.com with 2 L's. I am right here, and I am always ready and able to help anybody that needs it. And
So DMs, do you have like an Instagram?
yeah, everything. Ellevate Financial is the name on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. And then ElevateYourself.com is our website. And then if you don't do that, then you can see us on March 27th, 8th, and 29th in Louisville at the Mid-American Truck Show.
Boom.
Yeah.
We've got to head out
So we don't get kicked out.
so we don't get kicked out.
Yeah.
However, it's been real. It's been amazing.
It's been so good. Michelle
Yes.
was a good host.
Yes.
And we're
Until the next one, I mean, we're going to be checking back in with Ellie, seeing, what's growing, what's changing. And
Yeah.
so let's elevate our lives one more time.
Elevate our lives.
Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Freight Caviar Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, or if you didn't, leave a review. Let me know what you think. I appreciate any feedback. If you'd like to have more Freight Caviar content, go to freightcaviar.com and subscribe to my email newsletter.